everyone, it's Jenny, the dietitian, and I'm going to share a recipe with you today. I'm going to make ratatouille, which is one of my favorites, and I like this one because it's really easy. I just use whatever I have in the refrigerator, so it's different every time. I'm going to get all my ingredients together first. That's our mise en place, everything in its place. So I've cut one mushroom. I'm going to cut another one. And again, you can use whatever you have. It doesn't really matter if you're missing one of the ingredients, just kind of make it up as you go. So I have mushrooms right here, just baby bellas. I have some asparagus, which isn't really traditionally in there, but that's okay. I have some roasted garlic, which I chopped up because I had it in my freezer. I have some capers, some little, adds a little saltiness to the ratatouille. I've got one yellow squash, and I always keep all my scraps in a little bowl on the side because I'm going to save that for later and make stock with it. So I'm just going to cut these in kind of smallish pieces so that they all cook at the same time, because if you have all different kind of shapes and sizes, it's not going to cook evenly. So I want them to cook evenly. And again, in order to stay healthy during this time, we need to focus on fruits and vegetables and lean proteins and making sure that we get our produce in, support our local farmer, take advantage of the sales that are going on because the produce is not selling and it's being thrown away, and we don't want to waste all that food. Put it to good use, so take advantage of those sales. Buy what's going, what the stores have available. So I've got one zucchini here, and I'm going to finish chopping all this up, and then we're going to start our ratatouille. It's super easy, and it's so good. You can put this over pasta, you can put it over quinoa, farro, rice, whatever you want. I just like to eat it plain sometimes. I don't really eat a lot of pasta, but I love it over some farro, and I usually put it over quinoa. Quinoa has it's a good source of protein. So I'm going to finish, so there's my zucchini. I'm going to put everything aside. I've got these tomatoes that were kind of going all wrinkly, so I'm going to cook those up. I have an eggplant. This actually is an Asian eggplant, which I'm going to use. Doesn't matter what kind of eggplant. This happened to be on sale, so this is what I chose. So I'm going to finish cutting all this. And I've got some peppers that I have left over, so I'm going to use those. Again, I'm going to save the seeds and the core, and I'm going to put them in my bowl to save for stock that I put in the freezer in a Ziploc bag, and then when it's totally full, I throw it in my Instant Pot for an hour or on the stove and just let it boil down, and I use that for my soups, for making my rice, my grains, whatever. So I will finish this up and then we'll get started. Okay, so I'm almost done with getting the vegetables ready for the ratatouille. Just cutting up my peppers. I like to use all the different colors because it just makes it look pretty and they taste good. Okay, and then I'm going to do a red onion because I like the flavor of the red onion. It's I like the sweetness. So an easy way to cut an onion is I cut it in half, and this skin is being stubborn, so I'm just going to take off the outer edge, the outer skin, and throw it in my stock. Just makes it cut off some time there, so you don't have to watch me struggle with that peel. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, and I'm going to hold each piece in its place. So I'm just making 1/4 inch long cuts, like that. And then I'm going to turn it on its side, and then I'm just going to chop it. And then I'm going to flip it over. I just flipped the rest of my onion over and finish chopping, and they're all ready to go. Super easy. So keep one finger on I have my index finger on the right side of my knife, and then my thumb on the back on the onion. And I'm just holding the onion in place as I chop. Whoops, in theory. Put it back together. And just hold each slice down so it stays in its shape, and then I just turn it, quarter turn, chop down, flip, so that I can easily finish cutting it, and that's it. And your onions are chopped. You don't have to cut it this way and risk cutting your hand. You just go down, hold it in its place, turn it, and then chop, and then you've got your chopped onion. So we're going to go ahead. I have my pan started on the stove, so I'm going to let that heat up with a little bit of olive oil. I like to use maybe a teaspoon at the most. You don't really need that much oil. So let your pan heat up first, so it's hot, and then put your oil in. Let that heat up, because you want a nice hot pan. And I'm going to put the onions in first, because the garlic is already roasted, so that doesn't really need, that just needs to heat up. I have a little tip and trick. Tomato paste. I love buying this from in the tube. I get it at Trader Joe's. You can use as much as you need. You don't have to open a whole can. Usually only use a teaspoon or a tablespoon, and then the can usually goes bad in the fridge and gets moldy. So I like to use the tube because it lasts a really long time, and I can just squeeze out as much as I need. So I do that at the end. So I'm going to put my onions in. You can hear that sizzle. And let that go. And then I'm going to let that just saute for maybe 2-3 minutes. And then I'm going to put my garlic in. And then after that, I'm going to do my asparagus, my eggplant. Probably put my eggplant in first. It takes a little bit longer to cook. So the vegetables that take longer, I put in first. My eggplant, zucchini, peppers, the tomatoes can go, the tomatoes and the mushroom can go last. And I also had some fresh basil and fresh parsley that I chopped up. You don't have to use fresh, you can use dried, perfectly fine. I'm also going to add some dried oregano because I don't have fresh oregano. So if you have dried, use that. I've used that many, many, many times. Comes out still fantastic. So we're going to stir that around. You want a medium heat. Put my garlic in. And I'm going to put my diced eggplant. Again, go to the produce department at the store, take advantage of the sale items, support your local farmers. This is where you're going to fight these viruses. Building your immunity with fruits and vegetables, fresh or frozen. If they start to go, just cut them up into however size pieces you want. If you want to make a soup with it later on, or just use them as a stir fry, cut them up, put them in a Ziploc bag or a container, and throw them in your freezer, and they'll still be good. So we're going to come along here and see that it's sauteing. So we're just going to stir it around. Let that cook down a little bit. It takes a little bit of time, but it tastes so good. And I usually make this for my lunches, and I get 5 meals out of it at least. So over here, I'm going to add my asparagus. I love the purple and the green and the red and the orange and the yellow. I have all the colors of the rainbow. So we're going to let that go. And then we'll slowly add, after a couple minutes, we'll add the peppers. And then I'll add the zucchini. And then I'll add the tomatoes and the mushrooms and the herbs and the capers and the tomato sauce. And if you have some red wine, you can put a splash of that in there. If not, don't. But that's okay too, and it kind of makes it, gives it a little bit of more depth of flavor. Okay, so I added my peppers and zucchini, and I added some salt and pepper as well. I'm going to let that cook down for a few minutes, and then I'm going to add some dried oregano. I'll add my herbs and let those cook down. So while that's done, isn't that beautiful? Look at all those colors. Vitamins, minerals, this is going to help boost your immune system, help fight off illness, keep you healthy. So I added some dried basil and oregano, probably about a teaspoon or 2 of each. I like a lot of herbs in with my veggies, my ratatouille. And again, if you don't have some of these vegetables, just don't put them in. Use what you have. Sometimes I put olives in there. The tomatoes, you can use canned diced tomatoes. I just happen to have a few that were going bad, so whenever they start to go, I just cook them. And it gives you a little bit of moisture. So we'll let that cook down, and then I'll throw in my mushrooms, my herbs, and my tomato paste, and just let it cook down until it's done. Adjust the seasoning, taste it. If you need more pepper, add more pepper. If you need a little bit more salt, not too much. I don't need to add that much salt because I have my capers, which are salty themselves. I don't have that many, but it does add salt to it. So I just added my fresh herbs, my capers, my mushrooms, maybe a tablespoon of the tomato paste. Just mix it around and just let it cook down. That's it. Look at how much that makes. I'm getting all steamy, sorry. It makes this huge pan of vegetables. You can use it as a side dish with chicken. You can put it over chicken and just use it with a grain. I don't eat meat, so I don't use it for that. I just use it with quinoa, usually. Quinoa or farro, but it's great as a pasta sauce. I'm just going to let that cook down. So here's the finished ratatouille. It's all cooked down. You can eat it over pasta, quinoa, rice, farro. You could put it on a pizza. You can eat it as it is. It's really versatile. It has a lot of different ways you can eat it. So I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time.